Good morning and welcome to Community Connection on Star 94.5. I'm Monica May, and Tom Joyner talked about municipal and earlier election days, dates outside of November that we typically look forward to. And lo and behold, when I looked on Facebook, the man who heads up the Orange County Black Caucus for us, the Democratic Black Caucus for us, always has real pertinent information, and he just happened to list all of our election days, beginning with March 13th. Yeah, so we're going to go through all of that today with Russell Drake. He is the president of the Orange County Black Caucus here, and he's also the VP for the State Democratic Black Caucus of Florida. And I'll always tease him and say 10 years later, his number is still in my cell phone under Russell the Great. He treats himself like a king. He walks like a king, and he's raising his daughter to be that of a queen. And he is our fearless president. So good morning, and thank you for coming on with us so we can chit-chat.
Good morning, Monica. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the work that you and Star 94.5 and Star 94 Cares continues to do in the community.
Oh, wow.
You are making a difference every day. And we love you and we appreciate you. And the entire Black Caucus salutes the efforts that you put forth. And everyone at Star 94.5 Cox Media.
Thank you very much, Russell. You can come back anytime you like. How about that?
Oh, yes.
And I want you to use that seriously to come back. I've had our state and I've had our Southern Democratic leaders on with us before. And I had Dawn on before. She's your VP.
Yes.
But I wanted to make sure that when it was time, I could get you to come on. And I don't believe in pushing anything, but I called him after I saw this listing of all of the election days coming up. And I said, I can't wait any longer, Russ. You got to come on so we could talk about this. In Orange County, we have municipal elections that are coming up right around the corner. In fact, March 13th, we've got the Apopka general election. Let's talk about some of these things. They're looking for council seats as well as mayor. That's a mayoral election as well.
Yeah, so we've already had one election. It happened in Eatonville just yesterday. And that includes the mayor and council seats 1 and 2. And that's just Eatonville. They have their elections on a Saturday. Now we have the municipal election coming up. That's going to be Tuesday, March 13th. Early voting actually starts on Monday. It's going to last a week from Monday to Friday. Now, with the early voting, the travesty in it is that it's only going to be at the supervisor of elections office. And a lot of people in Apopka don't have the means and transportation to get all the way to Cayley from Apopka. And that's a bad thing. That is, unfortunately, a blatant voter suppression technique. So I have to fault the persons out there. I don't want to blast them on your radio station for doing that, and they will hear from us about that because that's voter suppression. Give them someplace closer in Apopka so they can early vote all week like all the rest of us do during general elections.
You know what's interesting with that particular one, because it is an election in Winter Park, too, for mayor as well as city council seats in Apopka, you would think that those people running for office would mandate, get with the supervisor of elections to just say, listen, why can't we have voter terminals here during early election?
So what happens is the persons who are in office, they know the lower turnout helps them. The persons to remain in office, a lower turnout always helps the incumbents. You have a huge turnout and you have a huge want for change in municipal elections, it threatens incumbents. So the incumbents usually make those decisions.
Gotcha. Okay.
What you have is you have people you have Apopka, you have Winter Garden, you have Ocoee,
and Belle Isle.
And Belle Isle. And you have no term limits, and you have people who've been up there for years.
And that's another thing, though. When we do have the no-term limits, it doesn't allow for new blood to come in. And that's another reason why I wanted to commend you for using your young blood in the right way, the right capacity for real. Because you have a pretty young board serving with you right now, huh?
We have a youthful board.
You
but
do.
Experienced as well.
Yes.
And we have, I think, some wise senior advisors in the likes of Ms. Beverly Colson-Neal and the likes of Ms. Erlene Watkins, both of whom are far wiser than myself.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. So, again, we have some Orange County Election Day information now. The municipal election will be March 13th for Apopka, Belle Isle, Ocoee, and Winter Park. Your early vote days are the 5th through the 9th, and the location only is going to be at the Supervisor of Elections office, which is 119 West Cayley Street. And then we move into August, where we have some primary elections there for U.S. Senator, state governor. And if you heard Tom Joyner and Senator Kamala Harris talking about our state Senate race that's about to happen, where our governor is trying to run for the U.S. Senate, and she said we have got to keep Nelson in there because Scott wants to do some things that are not going to be beneficial for the state as a whole.
Well, I think you need look no further than his service thus far as governor. And
people have been watching.
And I think people are watching, and I think people are waking up. Unfortunately, in the gubernatorial races, I don't think we've had the strongest candidates to oppose him. And he hasn't done the best job in servicing many of our communities that are minority and lower income. And now he's seeking the senator seat to do the same thing, where we have a senator in Bill Nelson who, for all intents and purposes, was the only Democratic senator in the South for the last 15 years until the Alabama election. And he's been progressive. He's been tough on the issues. He associates with the Black Caucus. He actually did a panel with us this past October at the Florida Democratic Party State Convention. And he even lives in Orange County, and he and his wife are very active and communicate with us. And they're working to learn more of the Black issues to make sure that they tend to them. And I think that's what you want. You want persons to hear your issues, and if they can't hear your issues, then they need to go. But if they can hear your issues and work towards them. And I mean, if you look at our issues include everything from affordable housing and affordable health care. They include criminal justice reform. They include gun law. They include overall community violence. They include student loan debt. And if you look at all these issues, and there's so many more, all these issues that we say are Black issues, they're Democratic Party issues. And I dare say they just span across the board. They don't affect that top 5% who may be in the wealthiest part of America. But everybody else, it affects them dramatically. And so many people get fooled by the rhetoric, and people throw this back and forth and say this is on the left and this is on the right, when these are basic issues that are affecting you every day. You're not looking at it. You're just drinking the gospel of whether it's Fox News or sometimes even CNN may be on another tip. But if you just look at it and look at the issues and look at who's representing you, then I think you come around and say, a man like Bill Nelson needs to stay here to help us get forward. A person like Congresswoman Val Demings, who's done great work, needs to stay here. You get good workers in Senator Randolph Bracey doing good things. You got Representative Camilla Brown doing good things. These people who are all in the Orange County Democratic Black Caucus, by the way, who are all working on the same team towards similar goals. I think in the past, unfortunately, we didn't have the best roadmap and connectivity to get to the goals. But with the Black Caucus, that's what we're working toward. We're connecting those dots. We're connecting the community. Our goal for the year is let's build.
Let's build.
Let's build. Let's build.
And you say that based on?
I say that based on building economically, socially, politically, and educationally. Let's build. Let's build. We have to build. And I mean, we're building across the board. When we see people doing great things, we want to build with them. We want them to take the lead. This group, I look at Great Church, Experience Christian Center. I don't know if you've heard of it. They're doing great things in the community.
I've heard of them.
Over in Pine Hills, they're doing great things. Look at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. They're doing wonderful things in Eatonville. I look at St. Mark AME Church. Right. I don't know if you've heard of that one. They're doing good things over there in the Bruton Boulevard area, Richmond Heights area. Yeah, so you look at all these, it's like they're building. This is connectivity. look at Bishop Kelvin Cabarrus and how he's connecting all the pastors with the African American Council of Christian Clergy. I look at Glenn Gilzine and what he's done in resurrecting the Urban League and taking them out of literally $1 million in debt.
Yes, I was talking to Glenn just recently. We went to read, a bunch of us, to some kids over at the Boys and Girls Club, and we just started talking and talking and talking. So he's going to come on as well. I didn't want to hawk him because he had so much on him initially. And he said, I got to get the lay of the land. That's what he would always say before I do an interview. I got to get the lay of the land. Well, he's got it, and he's pulled them out of the lay of the land, and he's moving forward. Let me just say this about all of those people that you're applauding. You are a connector. You definitely are. You're never, ever, ever have been a hater. And that's wonderful. That is such a great trait of yours, Russell.
I think I am a connector. I think I'm blessed to be one and have worked to always extend the hand to persons. And in extending that hand, some people may not be ready to extend the hand back. As long as that hand's been offered, you've done your job. And I think I get that from my parents, honestly. My parents, Mr. MacArthur Drake Sr. and Miss Linda Drake, both attorneys, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from Gary, Indiana.
Okay.
Gary, Indiana.
Went to Howard.
Went to Howard University.
Lockheed Martin brought you down here.
They did.
I've been always trying to figure, it's like ding, 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 ding. I got to let you know this brother's a computer engineer by trade. Now I get it. Now I get it. Now I get it. Just a smart brother, always connected, and you managed to get into everything.
I managed to find interest and value in everything. And I think it's one of my passions is definitely connecting the dots. I saw the need for unity at Howard University when I worked in student government. I saw the need in Omega for unity across the city, across the state, across the nation. I've done a lot of things within the realm of Omega, the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Some would argue the biggest and baddest, and I won't disagree with that, but I'll say a very intelligent, astute group. I mean, including the likes of Sheriff Derry Demings, former State Senator Gary Siplin, Commissioner Sam Eames, the late, great Mayor of Eatonville, Bruce Mount Sr., a lot of good Omegas around here. And actually, I work as their chapter president here to connect all of them. And connecting all of them, that's really how I got my in into doing something politically, because they were saying, hey, you're connecting all of us.
You are. You're very good at that, Russell.
That's what people should be. It's about being optimistic. It's about welcoming people. It's about embracing people. And it's about learning, because, as you said, you met me 10 years ago and I said, I'm Russell the Great. And while I meant it and I was passionate about it, I think in the same breath, I was always friendly, and I showed myself to be friendly. And at the end of the day, what people remember is the way somebody made them feel. And it could be, this guy may be a little immature or silly or fun or funny, but he's got his head on. At the end of the day, your attitude determines your altitude.
I just said that to someone.
It totally does.
And it sounds so corny or immature, but it is so true. Your attitude is going to definitely determine just how high you're going.
Your attitude and your longevity.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
It does. And I've seen it in the workplace. I've seen some of the most brilliant people walk straight out the door.
Yeah.
And they don't have the best attitude, and people can't advocate for them. And it's like, no matter how talented you think you are, you really didn't get there alone. No matter how talented you think you are and what a great leader you are, if you're walking with nobody behind you, you're just out for a stroll. And people have to realize that it's about unity. It's time to build. There is no better time than right now for us to build. We just had the movie Black Panther out, shattering box office records.
That's right.
Shattering. Annihilating. And there's so many people out here for the first time buying dashikis, for the first time learning about the African diaspora, for the first time looking into reading a book that they haven't read in so long.
Right.
And in learning our history, if we don't learn it, we're destined to repeat the mistakes of the past.
You know what? You mentioned Panther leader Fred Hampton on your website the other day during Black History Month, and that was deep.
So it's like learn the history of what he did and how he worked. He broke it down to see that it wasn't about color. It was about classism. That the setting up the colors is putting you against each other. Oh, you're white, you're black, you're brown, you're red, you're yellow.
Or you're lighter complected.
Right. So you're a lighter complexion. But see, we're all in it together. I mean, he started the original Rainbow Coalition with all the multiple colors and bridge groups together. He was getting too powerful, so they took the man out. See, we're wiser, and we got so many people doing good things that, like I named also the NAACP with Beverly Neal, she's resurrecting it. All of us come together, you go in your direction, do what you do in this different area.
That's right. Stay in your lane.
But we come back together.
We can converge,
and
yes.
let's build. The Chamber of Commerce, they ought to be saluted for the great work John F. Davis and Clerk Tiffany Moore Russell did with them. They ought to be saluted for that. And also for the work that Reverend Spooney did in getting them back going too. So, I mean, you got a lot of persons out here, and I think we struggle because so often people want the credit. Oh, I want the credit. I've done this, and it's no I in we. We are not there yet. We need to grow together. We need to reach together. We need to teach together. So it's in our thing with the Black Caucus, it's about education. It's about community education. It's about voter mobilization because we got enough people registered to vote. We just need the people to turn out to vote. In the last gubernatorial year, 19% of people in the state of Florida came out to vote during the gubernatorial election.
That's what scares me about this election that's coming up.
And that's why it's so paramount that we get the word out. 19% came out to vote that August. Then in that November, 49% came to vote. And that's not a lot. If we don't have more than that, we will lose. And it's so important. In Orange County, we got the opportunity to have the first Black mayor in the history of Orange County. Even in Ocoee on March 13th, they got the opportunity to have the first Black man elected to the Ocoee City Council. They've never had a Black man nor one man on that city council.
And that's why I said we have got to start getting this word out about these elections. So this is good. This is good. If you're just tuning in, yes, this is a very Black conversation this morning. This is the Orange County Democratic Black Caucus president. He is Russell Drake. He's also the VP for the State Democratic Black Caucus of Florida. And we've already told you that Orange County has municipal election days coming up very quickly, and that early voting down at the Supervisor of Elections office begins on March 5th, and that municipal election day for Apopka, Belle Isle, Ocoee, and Winter Park is March 13th. We've already done the Eatonville mayoral election. Now coming up in August, of course, we're going to remind you about this again. The last day to register for the August primary is going to be July 30th. So you can get started right after we come out of this municipal one. It's a short window, but we're going to keep reminding you. Early vote for the August 28th voting day is August 17th through the 26th. We always stop 48 hours prior to the election. And that primary, that's when we're looking for a Bill Nelson. That's when we're looking for a new state governor. That's when we're looking for U.S. House reps for District 7, 8, 9, and 10. The state reps for District 30, 31, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. Is there anybody else I may have left out? County Commission for mayor, and districts 2, 4, and 6. County School Board. There's never been so many county school board positions open. County judges groups 6, 11, 13, 14, 17, and 18. Do you mind if I share, just shift your information over to the STAR website as well? I could just paste this information.
And you can do that. We're going to update that because what's not included are potential special elections.
Got you.
The sheriff is going to step down while he's running for mayor.
So that means his seat is vacant.
It will be, but it's not, quote unquote, officially vacant until June. As well as the gentleman in County Commission District 3, he's running for mayor. So he's going to be stepping down. In the school board, members 7 and 6, they're both running for offices. They're going to be stepping down. So honestly, on the school board, the only seats that won't be running for anything will be 4 and 5.
And that's Kat Gordon.
Yes. Yeah, where Kat Gordon sits, she's good, but there are going to be 5 school board seats in the chair position being contested.
And that has never happened.
That has never happened. This ballot, I'm talking with Supervisor Elections Bill Cowles, thus far, it already looks like it's going to be 6 pages on that ballot.
Wow.
6 pages.
And you know what scares me? Okay, so we mentioned that it is going to be 6 pages, but I'm going to need you to go through all of those pages, though, because there's going to be people on there, and especially if you log on to the caucus's website, you'll see that you'll probably do a slate ledger for us.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do we call a candidate notable card to note some things.
Yeah.
There are some people we can endorse and some people we can't endorse, but we can let you know info about them. And we have another link that we've purchased called votethewholeballot.com.
Okay.
And you can even look up the hashtag and it'll be on social media. Vote the whole ballot is the goal. Vote the whole ballot is the key. And when you vote the whole ballot, we want people to vote from the bottom all the way up. So start with that page 6 and vote all the way up. generally the last thing on the ballot in November is soil and water supervisor, and it gets the fewest amount of votes. We call them undervotes when people don't vote for certain things. It gets like 30% of people vote for that. That means that 30% of people have actually gone to the bottom of the page. People vote for the top thing. They're going to vote for U.S. Senator. They're going to vote for governor. They may even vote for their congressional rep. But then they look at state rep. They look at state senate. And then when they look at all these other commission seats, they kind of shrug their shoulders because they're not partisan and they don't know who to vote for. But we've done the work. We've met with the people. We've seen who's tending to our issues. We looked at their background. We looked at their experience. And while we are for everybody black in a sense, everybody we support doesn't necessarily have to be black. We got to support who's qualified, who's going to get our issues across, who's going to help tend to our support in our gaining of black power. And our black power is in the sense of education, economics, politics, and socially. We have to tend to that. That is our primary goal, is to sustain, maintain, and gain black power in those senses. We have to do that. Then after that is education, education, education. We got to educate the community. And I was glad to meet so many different persons talking about economic development and helping people get financial literacy, a big problem. We get financial literacy on there, we can take ourselves up economically. We won't have to work as hard on that part. More people will be reaching out and doing that. And people got to want to come to the table. And you don't got to be an expert.
Yeah.
We welcome everybody. And mind you, I'm glad you kept saying it's the Black Caucus, because see, it's not the African-American caucus. It is the Black Caucus. That means we encompass everyone in the black diaspora. That means you Caribbean Americans, Haitian Americans, Haitians, Black Cubans, Black Puerto Ricans, Black Mexicans, people from every part of the black diaspora. This is the Black Caucus.
And I can look at your roster, just the number, and you have well over 100 members. And that's just who you have down there right now. And I don't know if the caucus has seen that kind of attendance in a while.
It never has here. It never has here. And I think the credit goes to the persons who initially put me up to chairing it. I think the credit goes to the likes of Beverly Neal and Sam Means and Senator Gary Siplin and Congresswoman Val Demings, who empowered me and said, run with it.
And do it.
And
just do
mayor,
it.
Reginald McGill, of course.
I know, our constituent service representative from the city of Orlando. Now, of course, when we get to November 6th, that's the general election. That's when you have all of your Senate races, your state governors. Now, I read off all of that, but there's one amendment that I really want you to focus on, and that's something that we've been working on for the longest time, and it made it to the ballot, and that is your voter right restoration for felons.
Yes.
Very, very, very important. Amendment 4, that is. So we're going to have this conversation once again.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
But I just wanted to just get you, thinking in terms of, okay, I'm getting ready to go to the election. Yeah, you are. As early as March 13th. If you live in Apopka, if you live in Belle Isle, Ocoee, or Winter Park, your election day is March 13th. It is what's called a municipal election day. But there is a mayoral, you got a council, commission, and, 2 mayor seats. And one in Winter Park and one in Apopka. And one thing that Russell pointed out is that the only place that you can go early vote, which is going to be starting Monday the 5th through the 9th, is down on Cayley Street at the supervisor's office. And he fears that many people who are from some of those remote places, even in Winter Park and Apopka, they don't have the transportation to get downtown. I don't want them to forget about voting, though.
Right.
Cannot forget about voting. Russell, as time gets away from us, I wanted to just say, how can we join into the Orange County Black Caucus?
Thank you for asking that. And thank you for the time and inviting us on here and being a progressive-minded, strong black woman, black women, black girl magic on display right here every day at Star 94.5. You, JoJo, everybody else.
I love you.
I love you all too. But to get involved with the Orange County Democratic Black Caucus, you can find us on the web at orangecountydbc.org, just DBC for Democratic Black Caucus. So orangecountydbc.org. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with the same handle, Orange County DBC. We have very active pages. I think if you look, you'll love a lot of the material. We got a lot of followers. We also have a Facebook discussion group. You can just search called Orange County Democratic Black Caucus Discussion Group. And it's a good group. There are a lot of positive inspirational things shared. There's no negativity in that group. And the reason we started it, because we needed a platform on social media to really get intellects and those who want to think above the radar of pettiness in one group so we can really build. See, social media is put out there, and it may be some things on there that are questionable, but everything that God created can be used for good. So we're finding a way to use it for good, and we're connecting the dots right here in Central Florida. Why not here? It's not the state capital. It's going to be the capital of activism. We're building it right here.
That.
We got so much potential to do great things. And like you said, you look through this roster and you saw the good folks on here.
I saw the names on that. I mean, but just in glancing through it, my main focus, Russell, was the numbers. As long as those numbers are active and bringing whatever they can bring to the table, I think you're on to something. And he lists out for you the 5 reasons to join the Democratic Black Caucus. And he says to be part of a forum to discuss, compare, and act on common concerns and issues affecting Blacks and Black communities, to merge ideas, resources, skills, and notions to advance Blacks socially, economically, and politically. These are some of the things that he's already mentioned to help develop a unified agenda, one that can be for Blacks in the local and statewide Democratic Party, to learn more about the political process. That's it right there. That's key. Without being knowledgeable, and I'm not saying you have to be masterful, just knowledgeable of the political process. You can't grow without being grounded. You have to have a belief in something and know if you're a Republican, could you join this? I don't think that there would be issue with that. It's not an exclusive club that's going to kick you out, but we have certain agendas that are going to benefit you as a Black person who is a Democrat.
And I think on there what it says about membership is that you have to subscribe to the objectives of the caucus.
There you go.
And so there have been some people who've been denied because they don't subscribe to the objectives of it. We say on there we want to maintain, sustain, gain Black power. I'll give you an example. In Apopka, they have 5 city commission seats, and they've only had one Black commissioner for years, and Commissioner Dean, and he's stepping down. And there are a couple of Blacks that are pursuing the seat, and then there's one person who's not Black. And the thing is that there's only one seat. Apopka's got a great number of Black people in it. You don't think they need any representation that are Black? There have been, there have been some people that are Black who've been shot down because they don't understand the value of supporting people, and they participate in negativity, and we don't support negativity. We're not. We're a progressive, positive caucus. We work with integrity. We don't have to slam anybody. We can do what Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we just go high. We just keep going high. We don't even entertain the negativity. You won't be able to fool with us, but we're not gonna respond and go back and forth. Now, what we will do is if somebody comes at our members, we will write a memo and put you on notice. We are here to cover our elected officials. Nobody's going to write a bad article about Sheriff Jerry Demings and we don't reply. Nobody's going to write a bad article or try to slander the state's attorney and we not reply. The only Black state's attorney in the history of Florida, mind you. Nobody's going to write these smear articles about Commissioner Hill. I don't know, if you saw, she had an interview about 2 months ago, shortly after being reelected. She had an interview with the media, and she had a number of Black caucus members, believe it or not, out there. And I saw that the media wrote it up and thought that they were a bunch of pastors because they're a bunch of strong Black men out there.
Wow.
Exactly. You had everybody from Bishop Cabarrus to Pastor Terrence Gray to myself to David Rucker, all of whom are active Black caucus members. And I think they said they felt intimidated by seeing that behind them, and I guess you should be. Because when you see a crew of strong Black people, it can be scary, but it's welcoming, I think, to elected officials. It's welcoming
and it's
to Black
pleasing
women
to the eye.
It is continually.
Yes, it's pleasing because, like you said, women are always at the forefront of these political movements and marches, and it is so nice to see our brothers come up and just say, I want to be a part of this. I got to do this for you, Russell. Just give you an open door. So now that you know that there's a crack in it, please push that door open and come on back whenever you need to get a point across. We're going to keep talking about the municipal, the primary, and the general elections that are upon us this year. We've got to come out in droves. We cannot sit down. Like you said, you got tons of registered voters on the roll. Now we got to get them up and out of their homes and to the polls. Thank you very much for sharing what you've shared with us this morning.
Thank you. And let me tell you, a guy like Reverend Alexander Smith is working hard in Apopka to get the vote out.
Okay.
A guy like he's one of our members. He's been a member now for 2 years. A guy like Mr. George Oliver, who initially tapped me and said I should be a part of this Black Caucus. He's out there working in a COE to get the Black vote out very hard. You know, they worked and got more people than I thought would get out in Eatonville yesterday through Mayor Eddie Cole and Representative Rodney Daniels out there. They worked to get people out. And that's the thing. It means so much when I see these elected officials or these community advocates or just caucus members working to get people out. Patricia Rump, she's working to get people out in Apopka to vote, to make sure that they have their voices heard. You know, voting is a right. Driving is a privilege. Yes, they can take away your driving because it is a privilege, but voting is a right.
And utilize it.
Absolutely.
That's all we're saying. Just utilize it. Russ, I got to wrap up. Thank you so much, though, for being on this morning.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for listening to another edition of Community Connection on Star 94.5. The Glory of Gospel with Pastor Reva Timms is up next, again on Star 94.5.